How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And before we get started, I want to say happy 4th of July to all of my American viewers out there. I also want to give you guys a heads up. The private group is live. We are growing. Whether you want to be a better trader or a better investor, then this group is for you. You can find the link inside the description. We'll be happy to have you a part of the family. So today we're going to be talking about SNDL Sundial growers. So let's go over the agenda. First, we're going to be taking a look, doing a technical analysis. Many of you have been asking me, hey, we need an update video on Sundial. So you know what? Here it is. So what do we want to look at? Is it looking bullish? Is it looking bearish? Many of you are saying, should I be getting into a position? Well, we're going to be taking a look at it. And then secondly, we're going to be taking a look at the short interest information. Many of you are saying, hey, does SNDL still have that short squeeze potential? So we're going to figure that out. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Are institutions actually getting involved in SNDL? Have they been buying up shares? We're about to find out. And then when all of that is done, I'll be giving you guys my final thoughts. So let's jump into it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SNDL Sundial growers. So you can see here, ended up closing on Friday at 90 cents. On the low, it tested 89 cents. Then on the high, testing 92 cents. So the chart that we're actually using is the 1-year daily chart. So we want to see how it lines up with our indicators. You can see from the RSI down below, it's right around 44. So it's almost in the middle, getting close into that oversold territory. But for the most part, we can see clearly it is not in the overbought. So if you were going to get into SNDL right now, you would not be paying a premium whatsoever. But hold on a second before you even consider doing that. So we take a look at the 100-day. Of course, it is below that. It is also below the 21-day EMA, and it's also above the 200-day. So when the stock hits the 200-day, this is where you think about, you know what, a buying opportunity, getting into a position, and that's around the 70-cent range, which many of us on this channel have gotten into this area and have been trading off the fluctuations when it moves to $1. So at the particular area where it's at 90, yes, it is hanging on an area of support, but it can pull back further, right? So if it does decide to pull back even further, another area of support that we see for SNDL is right around this 82-cent level. If this 82-cent level ends up breaking, this is where we touch the 200-day, and this is where I would consider going in with a small position to play that fluctuation going back to $1 or somewhere in the 90s where you can make a quick 10 to 20%. So taking all of this into consideration, as far as for the long-term prospects, if you believe in the long-term prospects of SNDL, I'd wait for it to get to the 200-day. And even when it does, I'd even look for it to go back even further, even getting to around 65 cents. This is if I am going long and I'm looking for a deal. If you want to just get into a swing, hey, start off in the 70-cent area, let it pull back even more, take advantage of that low 70. And then when it makes that move, because it does make that move to $1 within a year, that's a quick 30% move. But for the most part, is this the most attractive setup to be in? No, it's not. It also is looking bearish as well. But for anyone who really wants to play SNDL, this is what the chart is showing us. So we're going to be taking a look at the short interest information for SNDL Sundial growers. So we see here the short volume. So these are the amount of shares that were actually sold short, was at 28.9 million on Friday. And of course, taking the close at July the 2nd. So what does this look like? So when I was on Yahoo, this gives us a prediction of the short volume ratio being at around 33%. So when we take a look at the short shares availability, it is at 10 million. And as far as for the short ball free rate, is at 1.19%. Of course, updated 19 minutes ago. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, if it's close to where I calculated being at 33, this is definitely a move up from what we saw on July 1st being at 24.90. So taking everything into consideration, yes, there is short squeeze potential in SNDL Sundial growers, but in order for this to happen, we have to see a lot of buying pressure and increased volume. If we do not end up getting that, then we're going to continue to see some more downward pressure in the overall stock price. So that's something I want to make sure you guys are aware of. So let's look forward to having a bullish week going into Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SNDL. So we can see here on the inflow, we had 23, and on the outflow, we had 22. We had 0 on the large, 16 on the medium, and 8 on the small. For the outflow of large, we had 0, medium, we had 15, and in small, we had 7. So it was great to see that the inflow beat out the outflow. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we have 0. So we had 0 on the 2nd, 0 on the 1st, 0 on the 30th, 0 on the 29th, and then 0 on the 28th. So what does this tell us? Institutions have not been heavily involved in regards to trading for SNDL throughout the whole of last week. This is of no surprise because we know we were going in to a 3-day long weekend. So taking everything into consideration, if we end up having more volume going in starting on Tuesday and also letting that continue throughout the week and the markets are looking strong, then we can look forward to seeing some upward price action in SNDL. If the volume continues to be low, then we can look forward to seeing more downward pressure in the overall stock price. So now let's get into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for SNDL Sundial growers, it's definitely going to be interesting going into Tuesday. When we took a look at the short interest information, of course, it is well over 30%. So there is some short squeeze potential in this play. But like I was saying previously, we're going to need a lot more volume for that to actually happen. A lot of buying pressure. But for the most part, many of you know on this channel, when we got into this play, we focus on getting in when it's in the 70-cent range. And when we take a look at the technicals, that is right around the 200-day. And even if it does decide to pull back, getting in even to the 60 range, I'll be looking to add even more shares. And then when it does make that move or makes that pop going to $1, we take that profit. It can look like 10, 20, 30%. It all depends on how low you can get when it is below $1. An example of what this would look like. Let's say, for example, it goes to 90 cents and you sell at $1, that is 10%. If it gets down to 80 cents and that's where you decided to load up and that's where your cost is, and then you sell at $1, that is 20%. It is a rinse and a repeat here. As far as for SNDL, it hasn't shown a lot of strength being above $1, so we have to take advantage of these swings when they do present itself. So in regards to this pullback, I see it as an opportunity. Let it pull back further. Let the volume decrease. Let it stay the way it is so we can actually get in at a really good price and then sell when it decides to bounce back up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and we'll be talking real soon.